What do we know?
There were 5 shooters. This was a coordinated terrorist attack, sir.
I was a wartime general. Now I'm a wartime president.
Your inner circle's been compromised. Let me fix it.
Watch yourself. You're not Steve Rogers.
You're right. I'm not.
Wait for it.
We're on the brink of war. I can't trust anyone. Nothing about this feels right.
Captain America. You ever ask yourself, who's playing who?
Trinidad the Islandman, your Islandman, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad the Islandman, your Islandman. And today, opening day of the opening weekend of Captain America Brave New World. I went and saw it. I want to give you my review. Remember, I rating the scale, shock a thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down, it's junk, I don't recommend it. And overall, for Captain America Brave New World, starring Anthony Mackey and Harrison Ford, it is overall a shock a thumbs up. Now let me just say that it's not a strong shock a thumbs up, but it's still a shock a thumbs up. The third act really saves this movie. If you're familiar with what went on with this movie, like reshoot after reshoot, you know, then you'll know of some of the problems with it. One of the main actors, the man who plays Theodore, or Thunderbolt Ross, William Hurt, died of a heart attack and thus had to be replaced by Harrison Ford. Pretty much, you know, playing the same role of Thunderbolt Ross, the general that started the Accords and Civil War, you know, all the way back from the original Hulk movie with the MCU with Edward Norton. That William Hurt, that Theodore Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, is now Harrison Ford, and he's become the president of the United States, and kind of plays a light version of Trump. And you can see where maybe this movie had gone through some reshoots because of the topic of being too political. However, I think that they don't really go as far as they could have. You know, Harrison Ford taking on a Trump-like persona falls a little short. You know, the MCU is trying to be very delicate in this situation, and along with the world situation as well. They want this to play in China. There's a big push, you know, in this movie where there's a conflict with the United States and its allies, India, Japan mainly, whereas that normally in the 80s and the 70s would have easily been Russia or China, and not an ally of the United States, but just showing the overall world conflict. You know, but because they want it to play in China, which it probably won't get very much traction in China anyways, just because the way the Chinese market has been lately and all the tariffs that Trump is doing in the real world, they're probably not going to let this movie in, and it probably won't do well even if it does go in to the Chinese market. So that is ruled out right there. So why not just make the Chinese the villain, you know, in the United States, as it would have been if there's this battle for resources, and the resources being adamantium. They finally introduced adamantium to the world in this movie, the rival to vibranium, which is why everybody is so hungry for it around the world, all the countries, to try to combat and fight against the Wakandan soul holding of vibranium in Wakanda. Now remember, Atlantis, or whatever Namor's place is called in this version of the MCU, Telecon, I think, is not known to the world because Wakanda took the fall for them in that whole situation in Black Panther Part 2, as per their agreement to keep Telecon secret from the world. That being said, what more can I say? This pushes, finally we get some acknowledgement. The adamantium is coming from the Eternals movie that is rising up from the sea that gets turned to stone. Basically, it is on this island that they find vibranium, an abundance of it. Or not vibranium, but adamantium. And they even say that it is stronger than vibranium. Now, that being said, it is not really introduced in this movie other than the namesake and stated. That being said, again, this movie does a lot of heavy lifting, trying to tie everything together, even all the way back to the not only the Incredible Hulk, but to that single Black Widow movie, saying that, well, where are the rest of these? We've seen Yelena in action. We'll see her again in the Thunderbolts. But where are the other Black Widows? There is actually one that is working on the president's staff as part of the Secret Service and the president's bodyguard, Harrison Ford's bodyguard. There's again some controversy, which is probably what led to the reshoots, again, more reshoots, that this person was supposed to be an Israeli superhero. However, probably changed to an older, Black Widow-like version character, just because of the whole Israeli Gaza thing. Again, this movie is hampered by real-life events, very much like COVID did, very much like the Captain America or the Falcon Winter Soldier TV show on Disney Plus was originally very much hampered by the pandemic, when they had to change that storyline from a virus going around the world to the super soldier getting broken out. And again, this movie again is hampered by changes to the She-Hulk Disney Plus television show, which was supposed to introduce the idea that the Hulk's blood had gotten out into maybe not the full public, but some people have gotten their hands onto it and created other Hulk-like beings, which they really scaled back and wimped out on the last episode, the final episode of the She-Hulk television series, which was originally supposed to introduce the leader as the big bad villain, who is the big bad villain in this movie. So he kind of comes out of the blue. Yes, hardcore Marvel fans would know that he's been around since the original Hulk with Edward Norton. However, it would have been nice. They needed to tip the hat to him to give him something more meat to work with and to remind people of his presence before this movie, since he is integral to this movie and its plot. But overall, again, like I said, the third act saves this movie with the action, with the addition of the Red Hulk, which I've never personally been a fan of, all these other color kind of Hulks running around. And they don't even really explain or go into whereas the Green Hulk, Bruce Banner's Hulk, the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. In this one, Theodore Ross as the Red Hulk, in the comics, the madder he gets, the hotter he gets. And that's why he's red, is because he's got the anger of the heat built into him, etc. But again, that's never explained in this movie. It is kind of a throwaway mention in this movie. And even the end credit scene where the leader is explaining to Captain America, Anthony Mackey's character, that he has seen the other worlds, and that conflict is coming from the other heroes on other worlds, etc. Kind of hinting at Doomsday, the next Marvel project coming in. So, as decent as this movie is, overall a shock, a thumbs up. It is weakened and hampered by one, real world events, which unfortunately had to change and tweak the plot and the storyline of this movie multiple times, which unfortunately hinders the story overall. But Anthony Mackie, again, just like the Falcon Winter Soldier television show on Disney Plus, does a fantastic job taking the mantle of Captain America and overall propels this MCU finally into Phase 5, I believe. Maybe even into Phase 6. I'm not sure. I can't remember anymore. But this is an integral part of the MCU, and you've got to see this movie to get ready for the next set of phases where things are going. All right. So again, overall, a shock, a thumbs up, if not a super strong one, for Captain America: Brave New World, which was supposed to be New World Order, but because some fanatical groups here in America took over the New World Order kind of moniker, and as Trump is issuing in his own real life New World Order, they had to back away from that title in itself as well. So again, shock, a thumbs up for Brave New World, Captain America. It'll most likely be number one this box office, and at least probably around 80 million for overall box office. 70 to 80 million is what I'm thinking it'll come into, as its biggest competition is Paddington in Peru. All right. Mahalo and aloha.